Sometimes people consider the anti-China sentiment that comes from separatism is so-called self-hating, and the fact that people are calling it that is baffling to me. And it's often people who technically could have zero business with China as well, like the ABCs and the CBCs and whatever PCs. To a certain extent, their opinion is understandable. Sometimes the society they are in are not willing to fully accept them because they got an Asian face and they looked Asian and whatnot. It could drive people the other way, and for the BCs, the other way is, of course, the Chinese culture. And it's obvious that when people like us denounce the concept of China, they will get angry. They will say, oh, you are self-hating, or you have internalized white people racist narrative, or you are a bootlicker of white people, or whatever the fancy word kids these days like to spin without any thinking at all. And of course, it is all facade, and what they are truly saying is, you denounce the thing that our identity relies on. How dare you do this to our identity when we have nothing else to rely on but this? And an interesting thing is that those who think this way never truly look past the anti-China part of what we are actually promoting, much like how the same group of people never truly look past the plastic, tokenized, quote-unquote Chinese culture they thought they know. I think people who are on this path, either by one's own will or simply being misled, must understand that true separatism comes exactly from one's love of his homeland. His homeland exploited by the government, his mother tongue oppressed by the government, and naturally he will rise up and said, we don't want this anymore. And for the sake of everything that should rightfully belong to us, we'd like to rule on our own. This is no self-hate. This is the exact opposite of self-hate. And also there's this one thing that overseas quote-unquote Chinese needs to be careful about. You see on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Discord, and any other social network. A lot of them are saying that they'd like to learn more about their Chinese heritage. But here's a question for all of them, from someone who's actually from the thing they think they are from. Do they truly know what they are searching for? And do they truly know what they want to search for? Are they willing to settle with a plastic, tokenized representation of the so-called Chinese culture? Or do they really want to know who they actually are and where they actually come from? Because for someone who wants the latter, the former option is not enough. And for whoever chooses that former option, they are far better off to just go and be American or Canadian or some shit. This is a very important question, and I will tell you why. Not that long ago, there was this new deity thingy called the Zhao Shi. It was said to be a deity with a proper worshiping history in Hokkien, and here comes the catch. I've got friends from Hokkien, so when the thing somehow became news, I asked them about this. They said they worshipped Mazu, which we all know, but they never heard about this Zhao Shi thing. This is the catch. Not a goddamn soul in Hokkien have ever heard about this deity. It is completely fabricated. You could argue that all deity is fabricated, but Zhao Shi is new. It's extremely recent, with a history of very probably less than 1 year. Now imagine that your family comes from Hokkien. You have a bad relationship with your parents because that's how most Chinese families turn out to be. But you really like to connect with your Hokkien heritage. And when you're trying to do so, instead of Mazu, which is truly Hokkien, you got this fake Zhao Shi deity. When you are getting that, how could you tell that this is not the thing you thought you were going to get. If, for whatever reasons, you who are overseas second or third or fourth or whatever generation born Chinese decided that you are willing to settle with the generic Chinese culture, how are you supposed to know if the thing you were taught to believe in is a fake one that could be designed in such a way that allows your affinity to be exploited in their benefit? This is one of the reasons why separatism in China is important, other than other not so important to you and brain hurty to you things such as directly solving the Taiwan problem and South China Sea problem. Under the concept of China, there is no place for locals. It doesn't matter if you're from Canton or Hokkien or Manchuria or whatever, you are just Chinese. And when you are just Chinese, everything about your background and heritage is at the mercy of whoever's controlling what Chinese is. And there will never be any real truth about the thing you wish to connect to when it's under such a system.